This is recording 861. The name of this podcast is Listen Next 861. You can find me on my website, speakingtothecia.com. You can find my podcast on Podbean. It's called Speaking to the CIA. You can find me on YouTube, Christina Station 918. You can find me on Twitter, Christina MS 918. Okay, so I am going to go over... First thing I'm going to do is go over some more decode of crimes that I've already turned in Gene Roberts for committing, her and her Manson occult. So I'm decoding more of them, more of the crimes, so there's more to it. And then I'm going to go over current crimes this week that Gene Roberts and her Manson occult has committed. Okay, so... one of the things I wanted to point out, somebody pointed this out to me, and I was like, oh my God, that's correct. I didn't even realize that. So, 10050 CeeLo Drive. Okay, Charles Manson. Gene Roberts is the leader of Charles Manson. She always has been. You have to go through my whole podcast. I'm not going to re-go through everything in one podcast. It's impossible. It's insanity. You can go through my whole podcast. And then you can see for yourselves. It really is Charles Manson, Ku Klux Klan that has done this. Ku Klux Klan is their funder, and Ku Klux Klan helps them get everything done too. So, anyway, I love how they provoke you to talk more about Ku Klux Klan than Charles Manson because they're Charles Mansoning. They're both equally as bad. They're both the same. They're both one and one. Okay, so CeeLo also connects to my elementary school in Globe, where I went to elementary school at, East Globe Elementary, 1st through 4th grade, and then 5th grade I went to Holy Angels, okay? So, 1st through 4th grade, so East Globe Elementary, so I can see East Globe Elementary in the street CeeLo. And then even that, my house was on East and Cottonwood, and there is ENC. So again, more evidence for you. Gene Roberts and her Manson occult has been stalking me all of my entire life. Okay, so now breaking this down even more, if I take CeeLo and I pull out the letters that are non-common. Okay, so you have B in parentheses, then you have E, then you have ASTG in parentheses, then you have LO, then you have BE in parentheses, and then you have W in parentheses, and the B and the W is a wrapper around the whole thing. Okay, so without the B and the W, it spells out G Beast. So she's probably saying George Bush is the beast, is probably what she's saying, because she was pre-planning to do the World Trade Center attacks. And remember, I told you I've decoded all of this. It goes back to the early 1930s, but herself planning to do the World Trade Center attacks goes back all the way into my childhood, even before I was born. So I know the date and time stamp of this is early 70s. So, and I know she's going to instantly try to make it look like it's someone else. And it's not. This is Gene Roberts doing and her Manson occult. So, you can see, then you have Gast, and then you have August, you have Leo, and then you have ELO, you have Below. I've decoded that several times. Charles Manson always has stuff about the older ciphers in the late 60s, early 70s. He always has stuff about Belo and Bello. And then he always has stuff about, like, what's the word? Where you're begging and pleading. I don't know what the word for it is. I don't have all my decode open right now. I can't think of what the word for it is. Like repenting, and it's a bunch of demonic crap is what it is. And it's all over the place. So this is more of that. And then Webb, and then WB is in it. And then again, Gene Roberts is making a reference that goes back even further to 1976, when I lived at the first house in Globe, when we just moved from Tucson. And I don't even think I was in, I started going to first grade in that house. That was on 11th or 12th Street. And then we moved to Easton Cottonwood later. So the Weeble Wobbles goes all the way back to 1976. You have to see all code on Weeble Wobbles, but she's pulling that back in there again. Okay, so wanted to point that out to you. CeeLo and East Globe Elementary go together. Okay. All right, now I'm moving forward. Okay, present day. Okay, I recently turned Gene Roberts in, her and her Manson occult in, for killing Charlie Kirk. Okay, I decoded it. I created a podcast. I turned Gene in for it. It's on my Speaking to the CIA podcast, this podcast. Okay, so some things I wanted to point out here is, it says on September 10th, 2025, Kirk was fatally shot by a rooftop sniper while speaking at the TPUSA debate event at Utah Valley University. His assassination drew international attention and condemnation of political violence, while also sparking partisan dispute. On September 21st, almost 100,000 people attended his memorial service at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. So in this, I can see, looking between the memorial and then also letters in Utah, between the letters in State Farm Stadium and the letters in Utah Valley and the letters in Glendale, it combines to make a word that is connected to what I'm about to tell you down here below. So you can see that she pre-planned to kill him, and she is also trying to control his memorial. So, but Gene Roberts, I told you, she commits a crime and then she rackets the crime. She needs to be arrested. Her and her occult need to be arrested. She literally commits these crimes, and then she turns around and tries to be the hero and tries to racket them. So that's what's going on here. She did the same thing when she did 9/11. So anyway, so in this, today I was watching the news, why this comes up again. I was watching Fox News today, and they were talking about Tyler Robinson. Okay, so Tyler Robinson, inside Tyler is Tulsa, and then, you know, Robinson goes to the movie The Graduate, okay, with Dustin Hoffman. Okay, Jean gets really mad because I call her, the lady's name on the movie is called, in the movie is called Mrs. Robinson. And she gets real pissed off when I call her that. Well, I don't know freaking why. It's not like you didn't stalk me and abuse me and my friends all of our lives. I used to shit out of us, stalk the shit out of us, control us. Even you're controlling me right now, putting curse words in my sentences. And you think you successfully pass the blame all over the place and you just drop a mic and get away with it. No, Gene. You are a terrorist and a child trafficker and a child abuser. You do not stalk me, my friends, and my family all our lives. You do not commit terrorism using me, my friends, and my family. So anyway, so Tyler Robinson is in this, okay? And then also, you know, she uses the Winnie the Pooh theme, Christopher Robin. Okay, so Tulsa is in Tyler. And also inside Tyler Robinson is Tim McVeigh. And then Terry Nichols, and that's where I was looking for Nichols up in here to see if this is, if I'm decoding this correct, and I'm decoding it spot on correct. Terry Nichols, I'm looking in this up here to read where Terry Nichols would be, because it would be in here because Tim McVeigh is in here. Okay, and I told you Jean Roberts did the Oklahoma City bombing. She did it with Ted Kaczynski, and she recruited Tim McVeigh and Terry Nichols. Her and her Manson occult did that bombing. They committed that crime. I decoded it. Tons of it. So anyway, okay. So I'm looking for Terry Nichols up in here, and then that's how I see. You can see Terry Nichols hidden in the paragraph that I just read to you off the spotlights of what I just read to you. Okay, so what she's also making a reference to inside this is Governor Nichols. Now, Governor Nichols is from Oklahoma. So she's tying Terry Nichols to Governor. So Governor, I know Governor has to be in here, so that's where I'm seeing the Governor. So you can see G, and then you can see V, and then you can see the R in Arizona. You can see the NRA. You can see Governor in it. So she's connecting to Governor Nichols. And she also she likes to blame everything on the American Indian movement. She likes to blame everything on everybody else. It's called Charles Manson. She's a chameleon. She impersonates and acts as and speaks on behalf of, whether you know she's doing it or not, anybody and everybody. And she'll try to fool you and lie to you a million different ways and tell you that those real people did that. But if you're always being approached by Jean and her occult and they're always speaking on behalf of somebody and those direct people can never speak, then you know you're talking directly to Charles Manson. You know you're talking directly to the occult, and you know that they should be executed. She is holding people hostage. She's committing crime, and she's trying to racket the crimes. So anyway, Governor Nichols, so then wooden nickel, okay, which will go to American Indian movement, and then also she's making a reference to Christy McNichol. Okay, Jean has got an obsession with the name Christy. I'm tired of hearing it in my brain. Constantly. So Christy McNichol is an actress, a famous actress. And she was in a movie called Little Darlings. And it's a real old movie from the 70s or 80s, and it's basically like they made a modern day version of that like 20 years ago. I can't remember what it's called. Pretty Young Things or something like that, where it's just like real bitchy pretty girls doing real shitty shit. I'm sorry, she's controlling my speech. She wants to make me sound uneducated and trite, which everybody knows she controls my speech, so I don't know why she keeps trying. Anyway, so Little Darling, so she is literally bragging about controlling everything and running around and committing crimes and stuff and doing all this stuff. And then also on TV, she's trying to pass off. You know, I told you she creates an artificial both sides. There's two sides of something and there's not. You're just a deranged lunatic, a cult, and you're trying to overthrow the government. So she tries to create these artificial sides. So she becomes the villain, which she pretends that she's not, which is exactly what she is. And then she jumps on the other side of it, and she pretends to be the cop. And then she jumps on the other side of it, and she pretends to be the PR. And she's got like all angles covered. So that's what she's doing with this, what I'm about to tell you. So in this, she's trying to jump on the villain side of it, and she's acting like she's being attacked. It wasn't her that did it. It's the people that she's trying to stop that did it, is what she's trying to do. That's what Jean's trying to pull off here. So I know that for a fact because today I saw somebody with the shirt on when you were talking about Charlie Kirk on the news, and he had the same kind of, remember that guy, you guys? And Jean Roberts committed that crime too. There was a crime recently in Washington, D.C., I think it was last year, and the guy was running across yards. You remember that? And his shirt wasn't what it was, but they changed his shirt to look like an eagle. And you know, she uses American Eagle to denote terrorism and to denote terror attacks. So, but it wasn't changed to like American Eagle, but it was some like a patriotic eagle, like Betsy Ross XO kind of shirt. Okay, she did that today to somebody's shirt that's involved in this Charlie Kirk murder. But I know Gene and her occult, they're all together. Gene took his life. Gene and her people. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to end this recording, and then I'm going to do another one on current crimes this week that Gene has committed. And again, I apologize for the cursing. It's honestly, truly, it's not me doing that. She tightly controls my speech using artificial intelligence, as you know. It's insane, annoying.